So let's begin the first day of color grading. We will start with the Lightroom and the basics of Lightroom. And today we will understand one basic component of Lightroom very efficiently, which we very rarely use in Lightroom. So let's begin with the basics of Lightroom. Whenever we are inside Lightroom, the first thing that comes in is this library. Library is basically the place where all our folders are kept, or we can import our folders from. Basically, importing a photo in library, we should click the import over here, or we can go with the import photos and videos. Best is going through the import, as it will show the folders very clearly from which folder you want to import from. So as I click the import, all my folders are given here on my PC. So already let me go to Edge Drive, and I have made a color grading class, second one. Yeah, these are the images. Normally it will come like this, uncheck. You click check all if you want to select all the images, check all. Then click on import, and it will import all the images. It will import all the images. Then another smart thing that you can do while in working in Lightroom, suppose these three images are my key images. I want to work with these three images. I want to keep it in separate folder. Can you see the collection folder over here? This collection area, can you see the collection folder over here?
Yes, yes.
So these three images I take, I make a new collection of it. Create a collection and name it portrait 1 and create. So see, already my different collection has been done over here. The portrait series. It's already existing in my original portfolio folder also, and in the portrait collection center which I have made. See,
Okay.
so easily you can organize your works over here so that you can easily differentiate. Don't have to scroll in of when you are doing mass retouching or retouching, I'll say mass color correction or any corrections. You can easily do it. Next, what you can do, you can take an image. Suppose there is an image. Uh, yeah, someone do ask.
Sir, I have a question.
Hmm.
The folder you created here, the collection named,
Hmm.
is this a virtual folder or does it actually have in my desktop?
No, it will be there in your desktop also. It's basically in the backup of the Lightroom.
Okay.
It's creating a virtual image, virtual in the sense of DNG copy here,
Okay.
a
Okay.
physical DNG copy of your image. Okay,
Okay. Okay. ठीक है. Thank you.
it will be present there. So all the adjustments that you do will be done in here, not in your original image. And whenever you are there, it will simultaneously work both ways. And whenever you want to finish it, you can delete the folder. Okay,
Okay.
clear?
Okay.
So let's do one more thing. Suppose I'm taking these 4 photos and 5 photos, and let's name this again uh, bridal outdoors. So I have a bridal outdoor folder as well as where these photos are there. So this is how we can manage our folders, and you can basically do editing here also. There is no such issues. Okay. So few things let me clear out uh, before starting the Photoshop section. There are basic some things such as threading. Threading tomorrow I will show you at the end of the session. Threading capture is basically when we can use your Photoshop, Lightroom, sorry, where you can use a Lightroom to capture image via your camera, see in the Lightroom directly, and instead of the memory card, it will straight away transfer to the hard disk that you have defined in your PC or laptop or your external hard drive. And you can easily see the exposure, clicking of the photos. After clicking, it will directly show on the Lightroom segment also. The image will show in the Lightroom section also. Basically, we use mostly in this commercial photo shoots such as garment shoots and such shoots, where we want a larger image to preview if the exposure is correct, the lighting is correct, everything is correct.
So actually, where it will, I mean, stored exactly where I have to define
Sushil,
that part.
Yeah. See, when I will show tomorrow tethering, then you will get an idea.
Okay.
Today I'm only telling you the basic functions of tethering.
Okay.
Sushil, can you come in one minute, please? Inside. So basically, what happens? So So basically, what happens in Threader, you can directly view from your camera to the your Lightroom. When we do live streaming and such things, that also time it helps out a lot. Now let's go to the second part, which is the preference part. Preference part, few things we have to keep in mind. First is the general setting, automatic updates and everything, and the language that you want. Preset is two things in it. One, the preset is always in raw default, Adobe default, or if you hit a overdrive and there is your specific camera, okay, got my point. Suppose this camera is Canon 6D, which this pics have been clicked by one of the participants who provided me this pics for this workshop, especially for this classes. His camera is 6D. Model is there. If you put in the serial number of the specific camera will also come in, and the picture that you have clicked in, camera settings, the picture that you have clicked in, that profile will come out. Got it? According to the camera settings. Normally what happens, sometimes we see the picture something else in the camera LCD, and once we bring it into Lightroom, you will see the colors a little change, brightness, contrastness changing a lot. Got the point?
Exactly.
So this overdrive will always make your master camera, if you check in here with the camera settings default instead of the Adobe default, with the camera settings default, if you check in, then always never change this user preset. Don't do anything in such things. Only keep it on the basics. It will come with your standard camera setting, which has you have clicked in your picture. It will come with it. Later on, when we will see the camera setting, you will see the differences, what it brings to the image, what difference it brings to the image. So you always try to keep it in your desired camera setting. Right now, if you uncheck it, it will go to default. See, basically what happens, Adobe has its own color science for RAW, but the camera companies have their own color science for the RAW pictures or any specific pictures. For JPG, mostly it's a universal compression, but for raw images, it's always, that's why it's to learn more about RAW. It's all about raw pictures, not your JPEG, TIFF, not. It's all about your raw pictures. So basically what happens, whenever if you have a single camera, you don't want to continuously change the camera profile setting and adjust it, you go to the default camera which you are using and go to the camera setting. It will always take the default. Suppose you have taken in such specific picture style, it will always go inside to the picture style.
Sir, one question here.
Yeah.
Is this for the raw images or for the JPEG?
Only for the raw images. See, raw image has all the range of colors and dynamic range. Whenever it's JPG, it's a compression of everything: color, contrast, highlight, saturation, mid-tone shadows. Okay, it's a combination. Raw is always a individual format of each and everything, right from your colors till your saturations to your basically the dynamic range, mid-tone, shadows, highlights. It's the complete range. Hi, Hari. So always keep it on your specific camera settings, because I use a Nikon, but these pictures have been provided by a participant to me who is using a Canon, so it's showing a Canon. Okay, or anytime before starting with multiple cameras, you can assign the camera also. Got the point? Now let's go to the file handling part. Okay, it will always show when you convert in TIFF or PSD, it's your desired choice. Then there is color spacing. Color spacing, they have 4 color spacing: photo, pro photo, RGB, which has the largest number of color garment. Then there is Adobe RGB, display P3 and sRGB. So normally, if you export the photo without saving directly to Photoshop, then always remember one thing: to keep your color profile equivalent to the profile of the Photoshop profile, which we'll understand later on. Normally it's in Adobe RGB, so we'll keep it in Adobe RGB. It will help out the best for us to work. Okay. And 8-bit and 16-bit is the compression of the file, recording of the file. 16-bit has a more larger compression, larger dynamic range, larger color gamut as compared to 8-bit, but it makes huge sizes of file. If until and unless you don't require very huge prints to work with, 8-bit is a standard way to work with rather than going for a 16-bit. And 300 you can keep over here. So these are the basic adjustments we can any given day do in our Photoshop. Okay. And whenever you want, you can change to, wait. Stop the screen share. Once you click reset, it will come back to reset. Wait, I've just the Photoshop, the Lightroom is open right now. So the panel is back again. Can you see the panel screen?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, fine.
Excuse me, I just want to know, preference is coming under file or edit?
What?
The preference. Preference coming under the file.
Edit.
Edit. Okay.
Edit.
Okay.
It's coming under the edit. The preference.
Okay. Thank you.
Can you see right now?
Yes.
And next is the performance part. Performance part, if you have a graphics card, always depute it. Maximum 5 GBs RAM it's asking for, you depute it. Limit the video cache minimum 3 GBs, you depute it. Such how you will always get a good output performance from your Lightroom. So next, let's join in. So after the develop part is, after the library part is over, let's come to the develop part. Is the screen properly visible?
Yes.
No issues with the screen, no?
No.
Fine. So develop part is the part where we do all the developing or editing or processing of the image. Okay. First and foremost, can you see this play button over here? Wherever my mouse is, wait, let me show.
Yes.
This play button over here.
Yes.
There is a small button over here. Can you see it?
Yes. Side.
Yes.
Right.
Side.
Sidebar.
If you turn it upside down, you will see always you have to hit it to bring the panel, working panel. So you always double check it to keep it locked. And the next option is to drag and drop to increase and decrease your panel. It's according to your preferred choice of work. Got it? You can always increase and decrease the panel to your preferred choice.
Okay.
So let's come. Firstly, this is an histogram channel. As you can see, it's written histogram over here. And in the histogram channel, what you can see, the ISO of the picture down here, the ISO of the picture, the focal length, the aperture, and the shutter speed. A basic way to adjust, if your image is correct, is directly move the histogram and see the adjustment that you can do. Now, if I pull the histogram too much, now one thing that you can do always, whenever you want to go back, just click reset to bring it to the starting point, which is a beautiful thing in Lightroom as well as in Camera Raw. If you click the highlights and blacks, if there is any clipping issue, you can see the blue points, the blue areas.
Yes, sir. Visible.
These blue areas are areas of shadows which are getting clipped. Means here the details of your image is now totally lost. Same goes with the highlight part. Can you see the red clipping?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
These are the areas which is overexposed, and now this is clipping, means there is an adjustment. The details of this area has been totally lost. So whenever you post-product your image or process your image, always just click on the highlight and shadows part. If there is any sort of clipping in your image, you can always correct it or recheck it. Got the point? So let's come for the very first section, which is today's section, is this. There are two type of adjustments, global adjustment and local adjustment in Lightroom as well as Camera Raw. Today we'll cover the part of the Camera Raw segment. What is a local adjustment? Local adjustment is an adjustment when we pick and choose specific areas in Lightroom and do the adjustments in it that are called local adjustments. And global adjustments are those adjustment areas which is work on entire image, complete image. So you see these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 buttons, 6 icons over here. These are specifically for local adjustments. Okay. So first thing is the crop thing. To see the crop, let me straighten out. Let me take one more nice image. This image is nice. You can go to transform and straighten out the image. So let's go first to the crop part. In the crop part, you can see there is a clipping in the image. Can you see this?
Yes.
Red clipping there.
Yeah, this is the benefit of using the clippers. You can switch it off, but once you edit the image, you will see you always check the clipping of the image. See, means you can see this clipping here also. See, you can see the clippings, highlights areas.
Yes.
Means here the detail has already been lost. There is no details here in the image. So always using a clipping before and after developing is done It's always helpful to see to the image. So let's come to the cropping part. Basically, the cropping part helps you out to crop the image. It's a common thing to know. But as you press the button O, you will see various kinds of cropping rules. This is the hexagonal rule. This is the cross rule. This is the shallower rule of third rule. This is your golden spiral rule. This is the 2 by 3, 5 by 7, 4 by 5 image size rule. Okay. Aspect ratio rule. This is your regular grid rule. And this is your rule of third. So you can choose any given pressing the button O, any size sort of cropping rules to check your image to crop the image. Especially if you're, suppose I'm using a rule of the golden spiral. Golden spiral, I think this is a proper way. If I bring this image a little, this is a perfect manner. I can just done. I will get the image cropped. So this are the, in cropping, these are the kinds of, now I have a 2 by 3 rule, 5 by 5 rule. So it's specifically for cropping. Next thing that we can help in cropping, that can help us in cropping, is this constraint area, angle. Can you see the straighten angle? As you click on it, a specific line will come. Now you see the horizon line. If I pull and keep the horizon line like this, see, now I get a straighter image to work with without bending my cropping and everything. Again check. Let's go to the horizon line, angles. Now here I see there is a tilt in the image. Now can you see it has automatically adjusted the area? Can you see the adjustment done?
Yes.
So basically in horizon we can easily see the adjustment, and suppose you have taken any image, there is a slide bend. Instead of going to the cropping and adjusting like in this and then, here is a slight horizon difference. You just go to the angle, pull it straight off, it will draw a straight line and you will get the perfect horizon that you demand for. Next, there are two ways to crop the image. First is this original. If you double click it will open the lock. Now you can freely crop your image without there will be a particular aspect ratio. Once you lock the image, it will specifically work with the aspect ratio only. Got it? Clear about the cropping thing?
Okay.
Fine. And once you do it, done is the thing. You can easily give and do the done. Now let's come to this spot removal brush. Spot removal brush is a brush where you can adjust some unwanted thing and do a little blemish removals of your desired choice, desired choice. It's not as effective as Photoshop, but it's a very quick technique you can work on. So let's take an image, one more image. Let's go to the library, which will be more specific for you to see to it. So let's come to the developer module. Let's come to the spot removal. So you can see a few blemishes in our skin. You can see the blemishes in our skin.
Yeah.
So let's work with the brush. The first one, the size one, is the size part, to increase the size of the brush. And this is to increase the feather zone. The more you increase, the more the feather will increase. The more you decrease, the more harder it will. And this is the opacity. The capacity of the brush, you will use the pressure. So normally with Lightroom, there are two types. One is healing, which will try to heal the area. One is cloning, which will try to bring exactly the clone area. Like suppose we want to do a little spot removal in this image. I take this. I will just click it out. It will give me a sample area. Can you see a sample area given by the?
Yes.
Now, as you remove move the sample area, you see it's sampling according to the area you have done the movement in. Can you see?
Yes.
Yes. Just like the stamp tool of the Photoshop.
Hmm?
Just like the
The stamp tool, you have to sample and do it. It doesn't give you the flexibility of to check your sample in Photoshop. Does it give the flexibility?
no, no, no.
No. And it's by default giving you a sample, okay, which is the nearby, closest to you, according to it. Got it? But in Photoshop, you have to sample from a desired area. Okay. See, here is a blemish. I click. It's trying to match the area. Can you see it? If you think it's a mismatch, you can go exceed it. See.
When we click on the blemish, it will automatically suggest a area that is
That you can adjust it to your choice. That you can adjust it to your choice. Okay. It will suggest an area. See, suppose I think this is much more better area for it. This area is much more better. It's not for blemish also. We'll do something, few more things also. It's just for, right now I'm giving an example of the blemishes also. See.
how the round shape is changed.
No, it's round. It comes in circular only. You can't change the shape. This flexibility is not there in Lightroom. Okay. Like suppose now, this is the basic part we have done. Now suppose in the image you have a portion like this. Can you see this external?
Yes.
So it's trying to giving you a sample to match it from.
Sir, for selecting, we have to just mouse over it.
Huh, just mouse over it, nothing else. And just drag the mouse after the sampling has been given to you. Okay, let me do it once again. See, just take the removal. Now it has given a sample to you. Now you can adjust, just drag it out and adjust it out to your desired choice. See, here I am seeing the matching is going nice. Now I leave it, the sampling is done.
So it is under clone or heal?
It works under clone and heal both.
Both same. Okay.
In healing, it will try to match the areas. In cloning, it will try to exactly clone that area. Okay,
Okay.
got the point?
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. So now let's do one thing. One more option you have, this Y. Can you see this Y?
Yes. Why?
If we click, you will see the before and after over here directly. So you can see the blemishes that we have removed is removed now. Can see the difference?
Yes,
Yes.
sir.
Now let's come down a little. So you can see here also the stem that we removed is removed here. Can you see?
Yes.
So this is how we can do removal of blemishes and everything. And there are some other ways to see the image. This is one way. Now, if you click over here, there is like this also, split image. If you again click up down image, vertical split, and there's regular. And now if you press this, it will go to the loop mode, your regular mode. So this is how our spot healing area brush works. Sometimes if you want to work with the little fragile hairs also, a little adjustment. See, you don't have the flexibility as a Photoshop, but for minor adjustments, you can any given day work on it. So it's trying to give you a visible. Got it?
Yes.
So let me change the image. This was a better example to show. Let's come down. If you right click, you can see the transform area, which you can always rotate. So next thing, we come back to the develop mode. This is the red eye reduction. Many times if you have the red eye reduction in your images, red eye is there, you can reduce the red eye over here. I will just give you a basics of it because we don't have a red eye image over here. It will take the area and it will, it's a now right now unable to find the eye now. Wait a second. It will do auto process. Now it has found the eye. Now there is an option to fringe the eye and lighten and darken the eye. There will be a slight adjustment as it's not a red eye. If anybody can give me a red eye, I will do it, show it. So it will try to remove the red eye. So the next very interesting option is the graduate filter. What does a graduate filter do? Basically, a graduate filter is a filter which gradually filters out the adjustments of a specific area. So here you can see 3 lines.
Yes.
These are the 3 lines. Point 1 to point 2 is up from 100 to 50. There is a slow graduation, and from 50 to 0, there is a slow graduation. Now what does this does? Whenever you hit the graduate filter, you will see some kind of adjustment changes from your last adjustment. Just click the double effects twice, you will see everything should be on 0. Okay? Everything should be on 0. It will be much more preferred for you to work there. Now, with graduate filter, you can change the exposure. You can change the color tinge. You can adjust the contrast ratio of the selected area. You can adjust the blacks, the shadows. Now, one interesting thing about graduate filter, suppose I have graduated this filter, okay? Now, if I want, press, if I want where the area it has masked in, press it O, the button O. Now you can see a red mask in it. You can see a red mask taken in it.
We have to color, or where from where I have to change?
Press O, just press the button O in your keyboard.
Okay.
If you press the button O, you will see the mask.
Okay.
Unpress it, again press it, the mask will go off. Got the point?
Okay.
Now, here we have various kinds of selections in the mask. Here we have, first is color. Now, what does color mask do for us? As you press the button shift, it will try to mask out the areas, the colors that we have selected. Now, let's press O, take it, this color I want, this color I want. this color I want. It will give you 5 samples. This color I want, this color I want, this color. You can see 5 samples there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You can see that.
Yes.
Suppose this you don't want. Suppose this sample you don't want. Again, re-click something over here. From here, you click it. It will go back. Shift. See, it has removed. It has come this side. Nearby. Okay. Always keep the shift. Always press the shift to add a point. It will take only 5 points, not beyond that. So now what happens, as I press, it will only work on the color samples that we have taken off. Now see. Got it? If I change the color, temperature also, see. As we have selected black, so it's taking the hairs also, a little skin color also. We will understand we can do it other way also. See. Now there is one more kind of adjustments in graduate filter we again take. This is clear for you, the color sampling one?
Can you show the we have to select the colors from where we have to select the color?
First, you take a mask, press O to see the range. This is the range where the up till here. As I told, it's a, now you can understand 100 to 50, you can see a gradual drop.
Yes, yes.
Then 50 to 0, you can see a gradual drop.
Yes, yes.
Now, if you shorten it up, you will see the drop has decreased. Okay.
Yes. Okay.
So let's do a graduate filter once again. Press O to see our mask area. Now you see this range mask downstairs, range mask. Okay. There are 2 options: color, luminance, and third is depth. Depth is basically for some mobile devices, especially for the depth syncing thing they are doing these days to increase the depth of the image. Normally in our regular photos, this is not active. It's not developing. So now we take the color. You can see a color sampler coming over here.
Yes.
Press shift on your keyboard and start the colors that you want to affect. 1, 2, shift, sorry. 2, 3, 4, 5. It will only take 5 colors. Okay, 5 samples only it will take. Now, as the sample has been taken, press O to come back to normal. Okay.
Okay.
Now you can easily see without the mask. Now whatever change you do, you can easily see in the image the changes that you have done.
Okay. Right. Okay.
Got it? Any other doubts?
No, sir.
Fine. One more way to mask out the graduate filter is, first let's bring the mask on. Now there is luminance. Now in luminance, can you see this luminance right now?
Yes.
Okay. So show the luminance mark. As we see the luminance mask, you will see a black and white color. Okay. Black and white color. And as you try, this is the shadow part. This is the highlight part. The range, can you see the range part? This area, which is written range over here. Range. Okay.
Okay.
As you try to push the range, it will try to compensate your area. Now only the lightest parts portions of your area is under And as you increase the smoothness, it will gradually increase the smoothness. Now see, only the dark parts. You can see a dark coating of red over here right now.
Hmm.
So this is the range that which will work on. Now, as we hit, see, this is the minor range that it will work on. Now, as I do the adjustments,
Okay.
got it? Or shall I
Sir,
show it once again?
1 second, sir, please.
Okay, fine. Let's take a graduate filter. Okay, press O. We can see a masking that has been done to us. Clear up till here?
Yes.
Fine. Let's go to the luminance. Okay, luminance basically you can, without the black and white also, you can work with the luminance here with the range. Smoothness, if you decrease the smoothness, luminance, see, if you change the luminance, you can see the area from dark to light it is taking out, okay? And if you change it here from the darker area, it is reducing the luminance, it's clipping on the darker areas. So we always try to bring it in a more neutral zone, a gray zone. Got it? Now it's taken a basic gray zone. And if you just click on the show luminance mask, you can see the zone, the reddish zone you can see.
Yes.
And as you decrease the smoothness, it will bring a hard line. See, if you see a very hard line, because it's not merging. As you increase the smoothness, it will spread out in a softer line. Means give you a nice feather. Got the point?
Sir, actually, luminance stands for saturation.
Brightness. No, no, no. Luminance type stands for midtones, shadows, highlights. It's working on the midtones, shadows, and highlights. So the area we have selected, as we bring to the gray point, it will take to the midtones of the image. See, it's not affecting the highlight, the white part.
Hmm.
Okay. Now, if I take it to the highlight part, it will start taking to the highlight part. Got it?
Yes.
And if I take it to the shadow part, it will start affecting the shadow, the dark out part. Got it?
So, sir, while adjusting, then we have to maintain the midtones only.
No, it's up to all your choice.
Okay.
If you are doing a landscape photo editing, suppose, I'm giving you an example. If you are doing a landscape photo, suppose, okay, if you are doing a landscape photo, you want the sky to be work on, then you can always work on the highlight part a little more towards the highlight part. Okay. Now, if you want to work on the shadow, the basic image, you can work always on the shadow part. Got it?
Yes.
Now there is a brush option over here. As we click the brush, we will start selecting the luminance area also that we want.
Okay. We have a
Okay.
choice here also.
You have a choice over here. So let's first turn. Now here we have a luminance. Let's again to the graduate filter. Let's go to luminance. Press O. Now I'm trying to take the midtone basically. My first motive is to take the midtones. See the difference between color and luminance. Luminance will work on the shadow, highlights, and midtone. Color will always work on the sample, the samples of the colors that you have taken from. What the point? Is it clear now? How the color works, how the luminance works. Luminance works basically on the shadows, highlights, and midtones. Color works on the areas of sampling of colors that we have taken on the 5-point samples. Got it?
Okay.
Now, if I reduce, you can see a clipping, the luminance is only in these areas. See, now if I do it this way, now what happens? Let me switch off the mask. Now see, only that selected area is affecting. Can you see
Yes.
that clipping line?
Mhm.
Now if I
Increase the smooth.
increase the smoothness, you can see the area is increasing.
Yes.
Now if I switch off the mask and now if I work on it, see the area that it has selected, it's working on that only. Got it?
Yes.
Got it? Can you
Yes.
see?
Mhm. Yes.
So this is how the luminance works. Now there is another filter called radial filter. Radial filter will always take a circular area, okay? A circular area. Now you press O. What it is taking the outer part, okay? You are saying the image is there, it's only taking the outer part of the our subject. When you hit invert, it will take the inner part. Got it? When you take the radial filter, whenever by default you take a radial filter, you will pull the radial. Suppose I take the radial filter and pull the radial filter, it will always take the outer part, not the inner part. You have to press invert to take the inner part. So now same way you can do the masking. Color, if you select the colors with the shift, the colors that it will affect on 1, 2, let me take it 3, 4, down 5. Switch off the mic if you don't have any questions. Sound is echoing in me. Whenever you have a question, you can switch on the mic. So yeah, you can see right now the 5 parts we have taken. Now I switch off the mask. Now if I play with I double click on the effect, it will neutralize the effect. Normally what happens, it will take such a like minus highlight, double click, it will come, all will come to 0. Okay, if there is any pre-adjustment. Now see, can you see? It's working on the color samplings that we have worked on. Now if I increase the feather, it will soften out. The area will soften out of the selected area. And if I increase the range over here, it will soften out the hard lines. Can you see the hard lines now and the blend lines now, as well as the depth, the adjustment depth also. Clear till here? Clear up till here? You can type
Yes.
in on the chat box also. So let's come to the last filter, which last is the brush adjustment. Now with the brush adjustment, we can always adjust the brush and work on it with the brush adjustment. If you press O, you can see the mask, it's working. You can see it wherever I'm moving the area. Can you see it? With the brush adjustment, you can do one thing. Suppose I have taken a brush. Press the Alt option. Now, if you start brushing the area, it will only try to work on, it won't put that much inside your subject. It will only try to work on the outer areas very strongly. You can see it's working very fine line. Now there is an erase option over here. Can you see the erase? Can you see the cursor on the erase?
Yes, sir.
Now you can erase your desired area with the Alt option. Now, as we have increased, now you can see we have done. Now you can either take this or either take the color option of the mask and select the colors with shift. Always remember 5 sample colors will be given to you, not too much. Now remove it and just work on double click. Can you see the adjustments being done? Now if I feather the image, got the point? How to mask an image with a specific area.
Yes, sir. Got it.
So basically, we can easily mask. Suppose I want to mask the subject also. Let me just take. I want to mask the subject also. Let me put O. Now let me click the erase area. Press the Alt option, so it will always try to give you a sharper line. Now go to the erase option and erase the outer line. So we have masked outer image. Let's see the little areas have been left. Now, as we have masked our image very nicely, now you can see, let me put off O. Now I can easily do adjustments on my masked image only. Only the image is working right now. Only the thing is working on the image right now.
Yes. Yes.
So this is how we can mask our image and work easily on Lightroom. Easily, there is an option. It requires a little practice, but definitely it's a very effective way to work in Lightroom. Any doubts of in these given features of these 5 buttons, but 6 buttons that we have in Lightroom? Any doubts, or shall I repeat once again?
No, sir. Clear.
Yes, no, any answers? How many of you have been using this masking options? How many have been using this kind of masking options?
No, sir. Previously not used
Oh,
anymore.
so you can easily see the basic difference between Photoshop and Lightroom. In Lightroom, you can't create layers, but you can easily create a mask which will effectively work as a layer. It won't be as precise as Photoshop, but you won't find a difference if you properly feather it or mask it. So basically, I will once again clear the crop option over here. It's the crop option. O is the button to select the kinds of crop that you want to select. Okay. This is for the spot removal. Got it? This is for the red eye reduction. This is graduate filter. Graduate filter, let's clear it. It's basically a 2-part series, 3 lines divided into 100 to 50, 50 to 0. You press the O, you can see the graduation. Gradually, it's reducing down. Got it? So as we increase the graduate filter, the zone will increase and decrease. Next is the radial filter. The radial filter also works the same way. It gives a round circular radial for masking, area selection, and last is the brush option. Wherever we will brush out, O is the option from which you can see your brush intensity. Got it?
Okay.
Now one more interesting thing. Suppose you have done a brushing over here. Okay. It will create a point. It will create a point for you. Now, if you click done and again go to the brush, you will see a point is coming out. Can you see a point over here?
Yes.
You can
Yes.
shift it. You can shift it to the desired area. See, now if you duplicate it, right click, duplicate, you have another point. You can take another point over here. Now if you duplicate here, you have a third point, you can bring it here. Now you duplicate it, you have a fourth point, you can bring it here. Now what happens if I start working on it now? Let me push off the mask now. Now the point that you will select over here, see, it will come with a black. Rest are white, the point selected is black over here.
Yes.
Now it will only work on the black point.
Oh. Oh.
Got it?
Okay.
Now this same goes for the radial brush also. See, we have done a radial over here. Okay. Now let's make a duplicate of it. Make a duplicate of it. Now we can change the dimensions of this also. Make a duplicate of this. So the black point is selected. We have a, okay, one mistake. You have to select the invert part. Always press the mask and see It's masking out outside. Okay, fine. So this point is selected. So no, we have to invert it as we want to only take the zone. Yeah, inside zone. Again, inside zone. Let me increase the size. This is a little different kind of a size. Now heads invert. Hit invert. Let me small and lessen it out. Now let's done. Can you see how effectively it's working out? If you want a patch of colors in some images, you can easily work with it. But one thing you have to understand with local adjustment against the global adjustments. Whenever you open a Lightroom, it will come like this only. Basically, everyone uses the Lightroom, whosoever uses it, it will come like this only. It has a very big range of things to adjust. But with the local adjustment, let me click a radial again. You will have this. Only this particular areas, only this specific areas to do the adjustment in. Okay, you have only this specific area. One more thing to be very clear, very precise, which many, like I will just give you an example. Suppose I did a adjustment over here in local adjustment, okay? Normally we have a habit now, we will copy it and put it in the other image. We will make it as a preset. It's always done like this. Whenever we use presets, we do it like this, no? The Lightroom presets or Camera Raw presets that we use. But whatever local adjustments have been done, local adjustment, this area is a local adjustment area. This is not a global adjustment area. So let me click the image and go to display, develop setting, copy the settings. I have copied the settings. Now let's go to another image and I right click in the image and go and paste the settings. It won't paste. So understand one thing very clearly, whatever adjustments, local adjustments that you have done in your image will never get transmitted to your other image as an adjustment. Only the global adjustments will be we will paste or we'll take the definitions and paste it inside the image. Clear?
Okay.
So don't get confused. I will take areas and do the adjustment and I'll paste it on the other image. It will never happen. It will never happen with the local adjustment. It will only happen with the global adjustments. So one thing more about the local and global adjustment. Let me clear this also. So these are the areas. Suppose now in a local adjustment, let me take a yeah. Let me take a normal. So it's a nice brush that I have taken. Now with the color area, I can reset it once again. So let me take a color. Suppose I'm taking a color yellow over here. You can see a orange color over here, which I have selected. Now if I take the brush with the orange color, now it will paint out with the orange color in the background only, whichever color I have selected. See, can you see? Suppose I take a blue color. Now let me take a pink color. Click on the mask. See, as I switch off the mask, you will see the pinkish zone. Can you see? It will colorize the color that I have taken. To go out from this color, go always and click on the white area. A cross mark will come. Now you can see a cross box. Can you see a cross box? So now it's back to normal without taking the colors. Now let's come back again. Cross box. So this is how we do our basic local adjustments, selecting the image individually and masking it out and working on it. Masking it out and working on it. Any doubts? Any shortcuts that you want to know?
Yes.
Yeah, ask.
Yes. No, do you have any other shortcut for that?
Which?
For these types of selecting this, I mean, that gradual filter or like that. Do you have any shortcut just, or we have to click that and we have to do that?
The best way to understand the shortcut, what's showing in graduate filter?
The M,
M.
like that, like that. Okay, okay,
C. Shift plus M.
okay, okay. Right.
Adjustment versus K.
Okay, 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 fine.
Spot removal is Q. Okay.
Okay, okay.
Crop is R. No effect. Color effect is 0 over there. Got it? So today we started off with the basic adjustments. We will go on with the complete chart later on, right from top to bottom. What does the exposure does, what a temperature does, what a tint does, what a contrast does, what highlights does, shadows does, blacks, texture, clarity, dehaze, saturation, sharpness, everything. Basically, this is a very important part of Lightroom, which is always ignored by everyone, which is the masking part. Once you understand and practice the masking part very effectively, you can easily edit a photo. Keep aside the skin retouching, high-end skin retouching, but you can easily edit a photo total from start to finish in Lightroom without using layers and masks in Photoshop. But the precision should be there. Fine adjustments can't be made very precisely in Lightroom, and but we will work on images, and you will see only using Lightroom we can totally change the image, keeping proper colors of each and everything and changing the gradings of the color. Okay, so I'm stopping the recording right now of this today's class. You can ask any other questions that you have.